Hello and welcome to 9yrsTV for our post-match show after the Dons lost 1-0 at home to Rotherham. I think it's fair to say that it was, probably the right side won today. I think it's probably the right side got the result today. Tom Large, your reaction?
I just think we've not really imposed ourselves on the game at all. I don't get it wrong, I genuinely thought we had a very good first half. I think we were unlucky with what looked like a pretty nailed-on penalty shout. And Nesta against Walker in left wing back for me was a different player to him at left back. I like the fact he could have some creative freedom, and I think that's about as far as the positives go, if I'm honest.
Rob?
What do I say to that, George? You know what? I want to give credit to Rotherham because I think they played very, very well. I think that they showed the levels today. They showed why they're top of the league. They out-battled us, outran. They were first to every ball. I don't think we had a shot. We didn't really lay a glove on them. That's just because I just thought they were just a level above. They showed their class today. They showed why they're top of the league and probably going up to a championship and why they're often a championship side. I wasn't expecting much before the game, to be honest with you. That said, I think Rotherham are a class above. And the only positive is that it was only 1-0, to be honest with you.
Now we've also got Spike Godin. Spike, you're normally behind the camera directing things for us here, but you're joining us for the post-match show. What do you make of that?
What a game to be on for, eh?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I just sort of echo what Rob said, really. It was their game basically from start to finish. I think we held them for a lot of it, but it never looked like we were going to get anything out of it. Like Tom said, I think Nesta looked a lot improved playing left wing back against left back. And Cosgrove continued to impress. I think he looks pretty good, but he needs more around him. And that is about as far as I can go in terms of positives.
I think the only other positives I can think of following on from that is Cosgrove did complete 90 minutes today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
PK's got through 90 minutes today. I also do agree. I do think Nesta's better as a wing back than a full back personally.
Dan Chocker. I thought Dan Chocker.
Yeah, I think he came off with concussion at half time, but I think he actually had a good first half. But we were pretty much hanging in there, and once it went to 1-0, I kind of just felt like the game was over, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, like I said, we didn't really lay a glove on them today. I think for me, maybe the frustrating thing is I would have liked us, when we went 1-0 down, to change formation and maybe take a defender off and go with an attacker. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I was speaking to George during the game. I know George disagrees and wanted us to keep, but I don't know.
Spike, did you want to come in there?
I don't think we can fault the tactics, to be honest.
No.
Robbo changed it up and it worked. If we had been playing a team that maybe wasn't quite as good as Rotherham, who knows? I know that there's been a little bit of murmurs of discontent about being one-dimensional and not having a plan B, and I think they prove that they do. If we're, again, maybe looking for a slightly smaller positive, we have another way of playing, which against, to my mind, by far the best team in League One, we held them for 60 odd minutes, maybe long. I can't remember when the goal was, but we held them and they looked better, but they didn't look like they were going to score until 65 minutes, something like that.
No, I'd agree on that. I think we played very well in the first half. I think Dan Shoker had a great game and was able to keep things in and we didn't really let him have too many chances in that first half. But I think it was probably tight. I thought Shea Alexander had a great game as well, by the way, for what it's worth. You can now see on your screen the latest league table and the full-time scores. There's a couple of latest scores on there. I'm sure we'll get a shout if there's been any goals in any of those games. But obviously the Dons losing 1-0 here at Rotherham, Accrington Stanley beating Oxford 2-0. I think that's a bit of a surprise to.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't see that one coming. Cheltenham beating Sunderland. Sunderland on a bit of a bad form at the moment, so
they'll be able to change that when they come to us.
Yeah.
As always.
Roy Keane should be in by then.
Yeah, Roy Keane potentially coming into that Sunderland job when they're on a really bad run of form coming in here. It makes Saturday quite an interesting game. Crew 4-1 at home defeat to Plymouth.
Having been 1-0 up as well.
Were they 1-0 up?
They were.
I think it's getting to a stage now where it's, the fat lady's warming up her vocal cords for that one, I'm afraid to say.
Speaking of which.
Yes, Doncaster losing at home to Ipswich. No disgrace in the scoreline there, I think, only losing by the odd goal, but it's, again, they're starting to struggle down there. Fleetwood getting a point at home against a team from Buckinghamshire. Gillingham getting a win at home to Cambridge.
Shocking one that for me.
Yeah.
Cambridge looked like a decent side, and a mate of mine who supports them, he does sing praises about them, and I think they play good football, so that's a good result for Gillingham.
Yeah.
You know what, I worry about Gillingham a little bit since they got Neil Harris. They've won 2 out of 2 now. You know, I know they've only beat Cambridge and Crewe. You know, they've not beat any top sides, but still at the end of the day, it's still 6 points out of 6. Points on the board.
Points that we aren't getting.
Yeah, points on the board.
86-minute winner.
Oh.
But you know,
just in case the mic didn't pick that up, Gillingham's goal was the 86th minute. An 86-minute winner. I agree with you, Tom. There, Cambridge were a very good side when we played them at the Abbey earlier this season. I was very impressed with them.
We've got to play them
still. And obviously Gillingham 10 points behind us now. We do have a game in hand over them, so it's important. I think we get something over that to just keep that distance there, because you do look at it and you think out of that bottom 3, Gillingham are the only ones alive and kicking in that bottom 3.
I'd argue Morecambe as well.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, bottom 3.
Yeah.
Bottom 3
as well.
Bottom 3. And then if we can just, my eyesight ain't great. So
then we've got
Portsmouth. Sorry,
you've skipped one there. Lincoln managed to beat Morecambe 2-1, which is a big time result that we needed. We were saying earlier we can't keep relying on other teams to get results, but as long as they continue to, we will gladly take those points against our rivals. We had Portsmouth beating Burton 2-1 at home, and live score was Sheffield Wednesday 1, Wigan 0. I don't know if that stays there. That is confirmed. Wycombe 0-0 at home to Shrewsbury. That's a bit of an upset as well, I would say. And then we had live score. Wow, that Bolton game went a little bit crazy. I think it was 1-0 Bolton, and then Charlton equalised fairly late on, just as I was walking up here, so that must be another late goal. There we go.
Yeah. Just sorry to jump in, you mentioned the game in hand. Without sounding too negative, you know, we've had many games in hand this year, and we've not capitalised on them, so if you get 3 points there, we're on 32 if my math is correct, and then we are building away from that.
But I think that's the thing. While we're still ahead of Morecambe, but we have got that game in hand. If we win that, all of a sudden we're starting to look 4 points clearer. Then we drag a lot more teams into it. So I know we're on a really bad run at the moment, but we are still one win massively changes that picture now for us.
I mean, the positive is in our hands, isn't it? At the end of the day, but. Last week recently I was on the PostMatch Show, and I just felt a bit frustrated because I feel like we've thrown a lot of points away. We've had a lot of games in hands with teams in and around us. I wasn't expecting much today. Rotherham, like I said, are a class above. I think that's where my frustration was. I'm not too disappointed today, to be honest with you. I saw today as a little bit of a free hit. I wasn't expecting much. If we came away with a 0-0 ball draw today, I would have been more than happy. But Rotherham were the best side I've seen this season when we played them away. I watched that one on iPhone. I just thought they were just a class above, and today I still think the same today. It's no shame losing 1-0 to a side like Rotherham. You see Will Grigg comes off injured and they can bring on Freddie Lapado. It's not a bad sub to have on the bench, is it?
And I think that's one of the things that I'll come to you after this, Tom, but I think one of the things this year is the difference in depth in squad, perhaps between the bottom, I'd say you've got the bottom loads and then potentially us in terms of that budget league. But teams like Rotherham, who can start Grigg, Smith, and bring on Ladapo, who are all
that's true.
Just okay. So Matthew Robbins pointing out Gillingham are 5 points behind the table is wrong.
They are above Crewe now. So
okay, so
24 points.
You look at that then, and you say that when it game in hand now just becomes even more important because they are now within two games of us effectively, even though we have a game in hand. But as I was saying, I think that game in hand is still massive. That game in hand, which I believe is Plymouth now, even though it will work out slightly differently because teams will play their games at different weeks. But I think our game in hand is technically Plymouth. Okay. I think that's in a position now where that game on the 8th of March is absolutely massive.
You know what is a big game? It's the fact that we played Gillingham on Tuesday, 22nd of February.
All the twos.
Yeah.
That's you look at that and you just say, Sunderland at home, massive game now. They're not on a good run of form on Saturday.
I can't say if they're not on a good run of form. Sunderland, if you see their squad depth, like we just mentioned, I think they're being positive. I think they're going to blow us out the water, and I think they're going to be a good side. Bring a huge squad value more than anything to us on Saturday. And like Bolton, out of those two games, Bolton is the better
question.
one.
Point from Martin Serra. 6 wins from the last 34 league games tells the story. Rob.
I was going to just follow on from Tom's point. We say about Sunderland on a bad run of form, but then again, so are we. We can't really be pointing fingers at other teams. Yeah. We need to turn our form around and quick. Games have been coming thick and fast. The fixtures don't get any easier. Sunderland at home, Bolton away, Gillingham away. They've got Neil Harrison. I think he is a good manager, to give him credit. Wigan away. So we need to start picking up points and soon, because we're 2/3 of the way through the season now. And games will start running out.
Yeah.
You look at that then, and obviously Gillingham at home on the 22nd. Before then, Bolton away on Saturday the 19th, and then Doncaster home Saturday 26th. That week there, where you've got Bolton away, Gillingham away, Donny home, I think it's fair to say that's an absolutely massive week for a Spike.
That could be what makes or breaks our season, I think, realistically. I don't really like to set point targets for games, because I always feel like you're on a bit of a hiding to nothing, but if we could win at least 2 of those games, especially against Gillingham and Donny, that's huge, because then all of a sudden, hopefully, if other results are going our way, I hate to keep referring to other results, but if they're going our way, that could potentially set us up for maybe an early end to our season, which would be lovely.
Well, them 2 games are bigger just because they're 6-pointers, aren't they, against Gillingham and Doncaster. But yeah, like I said, 6 wins out of 34. Or I think it might even be 2 wins out of 22 now. We really need to start picking
However
up.
you want to spin it, it's not good.
No. It's been a bit of a frustrating season, because I do see we do play good football, and we do, like I said, I do like the brand of football Robbo plays. However, we have just thrown away points sometimes, which has just been really frustrating. I look back at games now, at home to Gillingham when they scored in the 90th minute. Look back at Charlton, and I think we let in some soft set pieces. It's just frustrating at the moment being a Dons fan.
Sorry. No, I was going to just you look at that table back there. Sorry, Stu, who is behind the directing mic tonight, who's absolutely loving that last minute change of direction. But you just look at that, and you look games lost. We've lost fewer games than everyone below 12th in that league. And I think there are positives to take. We've drawn a lot of games, but I think we're looking hard to beat. And I know, Tom, you're laughing there, trying to find positives.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair to say that we win those 2 games, Doncaster and Gillingham, and then I think we're in a better position.
Yes.
Anyway,
no, I agree.
Anyway, we're running out of time for this evening, so we'll be back here on Saturday for the visitors. Sunderland come here to the Cherry Red Records Stadium, Plough Lane. We'll be on air from about 1:30, 1:45 that day, so we hope you can join us pre-match and again after the game. But all we've got time for tonight. Thank you to our team, Tom Large, Rob Boyce, Spike Godding, Stu Deakins, Anne-Marie Godfrey from earlier on, as well as our fans from the away fans who contributed from Rotherham, and we wish them a safe journey back up north later this evening. And thank you guys for watching, all your comments and questions so far this evening, and we'll see you on Saturday.